Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith. We are playing through this beautiful game. It's a puzzle logic puzzle game where all the puzzles are unique and solved completely by logic. Well, we ended the last episode. We were about to start a new section, but we came across that there were some challenge puzzles over here. And you know how I like a challenge. Oh, is there something over on this little island? You gotta kind of look around sometimes, but there's a difficult puzzle, and it gave us a warning, say, hey, this might be difficult. And I'm just saying, do you promise? Please promise. We want some difficult puzzles. We're enjoying it. That's why we're playing this. All right. So let's talk. But if you're not familiar with this game, we are going to try to create some shapes into this puzzle. But the problem is we have constraints, some rules. So for this one, we have every region that we create has to be one of these shapes in some form or fashion. So it could be like this, like that S, but it also could be, rotated or mirrored, or mirrored and rotated. All of those are valid options. And then we have the Z, as the British would say, the Z pentonimo, either the S tetronimo or the Z petronimo to get the space. So all of them have to be one of those shapes, either the S or the Z. That's what we'll be calling them. And for the British folks, the S and the Z. All right, that's rule number one. Rule number two, we do need to make sure that each region contains exactly one of each symbol. So what they're telling us is if we count these symbols 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, there are exactly 20 regions. So 20 regions to make those shapes. And each region has one and only one of those. So we can go ahead and get some region boundaries established right from the get-go. I don't want to color. I want to draw some lines. All right. With that being said, let's jump into where do we start looking for growth? Well, I can say for sure that region is going to grow like that. This region is going to grow like that. They have to grow. It has to become an S or a Z. Now, if this were an S, it could grow like that. That's valid. If it were a Z, that's invalid. Wait. Wait, hold on a second. This is the 2 length. So it's either it's a 2, which would make it the S, but if it's the Z, then it would have, it's not the Z. This cannot be the Z. So this is the shape. That has to be, which means this is the next shape. Now this does need a circle, and so if we make this an S, doesn't work. So this is gonna have to be a Z. Just like that. Same thing with this. This can't be an S. This is going to have to be a Z as well. And I don't know if this is a Z or an S. So we'll hold off on that. Where do we look now? All right, let's go back up to here. Let's look at this. Now I want more color choices. Make my puzzle pretty. So our green domino up here, it has to grow. It has 2 options. Okay. If it's an S, it has 2 options. It could grow like that, I don't see a problem with that. It could also grow like that. I do see a problem with this. This is not right. And it comes down to this one up here. If this were the S and in this shape, this would have to grow at a minimum like this. But it doesn't matter whether it's an S or a Z. It takes two circles. So this is not the way this grows. It does not grow as an S that way. So so if it's an S, what I'm saying is if it's an S, it grows like this. But it could be a Z. It could be a Z. And if it's a Z, it only has one way to grow, and it's like that. And that's a problem for the same reason, because how does this guy grow? He can't. He has no, he can't grow. So this does not work. So this is an S, and it grows like that. So this is a new shape. And I think this has to be a Z. If it were an S, it would grow like that, but then this is a dead end. So I think it has to grow like that. And so we're going to take this. This grows like this. I don't know if it's a Z or an S. I think it has to be a Z as well. If it's an S, what grows in here? Nothing can fit in there. So this has to come down here. Give me a new color. And that grows like that. This comes out. This has to be an S or a Z. If it's a Z, that's a problem. If it's a Z, that's a problem. So it's an S. If it's an S, that's a problem. So it has to be like that. Please don't connect stuff that I'm not connecting. Thank you. All right. All right, how does this guy get... I see what has to happen. I'm just trying to see if I can explain it. Okay. This is either part of an S or part of a Z. Let's start with the S possibilities. That's a no. Dead end. That's a no. Two circles. That's a possibility. That does work. Are there any other? I think that's the other. So if it is an S, it has to be that. Let's look at Z's. Could it be Z's? If it's a Z going this way, like that, this is no man's land. We can't get any shapes in there. That does not work. But what if we do that? That does work. It's the same as the other S shape, but those are our two options for Z's. Either way, these are the cells, and that is, I don't want to connect. That is the shape. I don't know how this grows, but this is how that has to go. Okay, let's look at this guy. Where does this guy get his circle? That's an option. And that's an option. But that's a dead space. That's not valid. Is there any other way to connect this to a... I could do that. Dead space. I don't see a way to get this connected to this one. Let's start with that. Can this and this be in the same... Actually, what am I saying? That just like that. Duh. And that's why we ask the questions. So we can connect it to this one, and we can connect it to that one. Both are valid options. Okay, let's not belabor that. That is not where to look. Is this guy under pressure? It feels like he is. Like, this is not valid. That is. So if he's an S, does that have to be his S path? I don't think so. I think he also could do something like this. But then what does this guy do? He's in trouble. Maybe this is the one we look at. How does this one make a Z or an S? I mean, it has to be that, right? Is there any other shape? I guess if I do this, but then this is dead end. Like, there's nothing that can go in there. If I take this and this, which I think I have to take this. And as soon as I take that, I can't make this Z because I cross the line and I take way too many. So, I mean, how can I make it without it going that direction? Like, I feel like that's forced. Like, I feel like this is just forced. I don't see how I can make that a Z. Yeah, I think this is good logic. And that does put pressure on this one. That has to be like that. That has to be like that. These are just forced. This has to be that. This guy is either an S or a Z. He doesn't go that way. But whatever he does this. So we'll stop with that. This then has to be part of this one, right? So it has to be that, which means this has to be that. That's all forced. All right, this one now can't be a Z, so it has to be S. This has to be S. And we're down to just a handful of shapes here. We got a shape here. So I've got 3 left. I got to get 3 shapes in here. I think these are all going to have to be pretty big shapes. So this is going to have to be, like, nothing can get in here. So this is going to have to be a Z. This has to be a Z. This has to be a Z. This has to be an S. There we go. Solve a difficulty 5 puzzle. Yeah, you know we do it. Now, do we go straight to number 6? There we go. Number 6. This is a difficulty 6. I'm excited. You guys excited? I'm kind of salivating for this. All right. It's just one rule set. Each region contains exactly one of each symbol. All right, so let's count. Let's start with triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we have 7 regions. And how many different shapes do we have? We have the triangle, square, diamond, hexagon, circle. So we have 5 shapes that each one has to connect to. Let's get some separation going. We know these are all. All right, this is I kind of like starting up here. I don't know. Down here's not bad either. Okay, so these 2 have to connect. That's just right out of the gate. It has to happen. Where do we go from here? Lots of pressure here. Got this line here as well. So I don't know how this one gets out. But I mean, it could do something super crazy, right? It could be like, you know, it could do, you know, we could have something go around the whole edge. It doesn't go around the entire edge, obviously, because we got some diamonds on the middle. But the whole point is, I don't know if it does that or if it does something more straightforward. And just take all of that. Like, I guess it all depends on if it needs this circle or not. The blues are very separated from each other. This is going to be very interesting because we got to create regions. We have 7 regions, and these blues have to be separated. But we got the purples separated over here. So the purples are really separated. The yellows are very separated. So there's going to be a lot of loop arounds. There has to be a lot of loop arounds to make this work. All right, so here's a good. Let's start with this guy. Let's say I do something like this to get out, because this guy's got to get out, right? We know there has to be a minimum of 3 exits here, right? I mean, let's just look at these 3 squares right here. These purples are not able to be completed in this section, right? I think that's pretty obvious. So all 3 of these purples, which are 3 different regions, must cross this 3 threshold. So we can say with confidence, this guy exits here. Another one will exit here, and a third one will exit here. So who exits the blue? The blue one has to exit this way. Which means this one has to exit that way. This has a green, so this one will grab that. Both of these have green, so that's forced. I'm very comfortable with that logic. That's solid. I'm going to do the same thing with this cell, and this cell. We can't cross here. I've got 3 circles and I've got 3 hexagons, and they all have to exit. These are our 3 exit points. So, question, could this guy exit here? The answer is no, because that circle is cut off. As soon as he can't exit here, he must loop around. So this one has to grow. This one has to grow. This one has to grow. That's a line. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious now. Can this one exit here? No, because then this one's cut off. So this exit is here, and this exit is here. I already have a circle for the blue, so this purple takes that one. This one has to exit this way, and so that is the answer. That's forced. Now I can do some growth. This has to grow. This has to grow. This has to grow. This has to grow. That's all fine. All right. We're good down here. By the way, these 3 colors and these 3 colors all have hexagons in them, which means that's our 7th region. We've identified our 7 regions. Now we just have to connect all of the others to each of these regions. Let's look down here, because I think we can do a similar exit point strategy. If I say these 3, these 3 are the 3 exit points for the 3 blues and the 3 squares and the 3 triangles. So if I grow this down, this down, this down, that's all forced. I think we're gonna have to say these have to connect, is my guess. I'm not connecting these just yet, but I have a feeling they will connect. All right, here's a question. Can this take this? And I'm going to go on a limb and say that because we have 3 squares and 3 triangles, we have to connect these 2 together. We have to. I cannot leave because there's only 3 regions that are in this area. And so all 3 of these regions need a triangle. So as soon as I do this, how do I get one of these triangles? Well, if I come down to get it, then I block the pink off. So this can't come down this way. So it's going to have to go over. Can't go down here. So that's going to force this down. It's going to force this down. And now I think we can say this has a blue. This blue is going to have to be, because no matter what I do, I've blocked it off. So this has to take that blue, which now means this one has to be this one. And so it's going to have to do this wraparound to get there. And that is, don't connect stuff I don't want to connect. And we'll just draw the lines like that. All right, so here's the question. Can these be different? I mean, I just want to connect these. Like my brain wants to just connect them. But here's the challenge. It has to get out still. This is incomplete. We still don't have a circle on this line. How many shapes do we have again? It's 5 shapes, right? It's circle, triangle, square, diamond, hexagon. 5. We've got 4 shapes on all of these, but we're missing. Like if I connected these together, I'm missing a circle still. And we can know it's not okay, these already have the circle. So these could connect to this. And then they would be missing the green diamonds. So if these connect, it needs a circle. If these connect, it needs a diamond. Can I do one more of these? Let's do the same logic here. We got to escape. How does everybody escape? This is going to need a diamond from back here. Without going up through here. So this is going to have to come in. That's this already has a diamond, so this comes over. So that's its diamond. So I think, okay, so this, yeah, I see what has to happen here. This is the orange. This one's completed. This needs a diamond. It can't, or triangle. It can't get to this triangle. So it has to take this one. So that's our shape. All right, I think we're good there. That's good. Now I don't think I can do. There's not a 3. There's rooms to snake in and snake out, if you will. So I can't force that one of these just pulls through. But this is a good start. I think this is a good start. How do we expand from here, though? I guess we could ask the question, what happens if these are not the same region? If they're not the same region, this would grow, this would grow, this would grow, this would grow. And then this would grow, this would grow, this would grow. Then this would grow, this would grow, this would grow, this would grow. Then this would grow. And then this would have to connect by it has to. And then this would have to grow. And so now this one would be missing a diamond. It would have to take this diamond somehow. I don't see that breaks anything. I was just kind of playing around with the idea. What happens if that line wasn't there? Now, if this line is here, if this is the same, what would this need? This needs a circle. And it's not one of these three. And I don't think it's one of these three either, because I strongly suspect these are paired off like these are. So it essentially would be something like this. I don't see that that's fundamentally flawed. So I don't see that either one. Nothing's standing out to me that's just really bad logic. But let's look at this. Has both of these. So these three here are either one of these three or one of these three. And I can tell you it's not. These do not pair here. So, okay, this is important. This is really important. Because remember, there's only, there's seven sets of symbols. And we've identified that these three hexagons and these three hexagons, that's 6 of them. So these 3 here do not connect to these 3. Now, it doesn't mean that they all connect to this one, but 2 of these absolutely connect to here. We must connect to, at a minimum. So, how is it not just these 2 right off the bat have to be connected? Okay, I need to talk myself out of that logic. These 3 and these 3 are separate. These don't connect to each other. These don't connect to each other. But total, that's 12 different regions. There's only 7 regions. So 5 of these regions are, at a minimum, 5 of these regions are overlaps. So if we take, say, all 3 of these are overlaps, that leaves at least 2 of these are overlaps. It could be all 3 overlapped with this one, because it can't overlap with this. So at least 2 of these overlap with this. At least 2. That logic's solid. The question is, can it not be these 2? Is it possible that this region and this region do not connect? Knowing that 2 of these have to connect. So if 2 of them have to connect, if this region, let's say this region's one of the ones that connects, it doesn't connect to this one, it connects to this one. Well, this region, this is its exit point, it's stuck. Connects to here, it's stuck. Let's say this is the region that doesn't connect at all, and this is the region that connects. and it connects here, then this region's stuck. If this region connects to here, then both of these regions. So I think we by process of elimination, these are connected, and they're missing this. And I think the answer is going to be just grab that, but I'm not going to yet because it may be some kind of loop around thing. But I think we need this symbol to go with that. That's what we're missing. But I think that's force. Now, that logic does not hold. Now, this logic breaks. I can't just sit there and say, connect this one to this one, because this one still needs that symbol. So if these two connect, it has to be through some roundabout way. And that could work. It can't ice. This is still needed for some seventh region. But if these connect, this one would have to connect to the purple. It could connect to the green because it would isolate the purple. So it would have to do something like this to connect there, and then that would connect. That looks like that would work. Doesn't mean it has to work, because this does. But if this wasn't the one to connect, then this is the one that must connect. And how does this one connect to either of these without isolating these two? So I think it does prove this one does have to connect to this one. It cannot block this from here, so it does have to do something like this. At a minimum, it has to be this. And we will connect that together. It could extend out. I think we're going to need the space for other regions, but I'm just doing it as small as possible. I hate doing it like this, but I think we're going to need all that extra space. I'm doing the bare minimum it has to be, but essentially I could grow it like this and then grow it like this, but I have a feeling there's going to be constraints that are going to force us. So, I mean, if I had a way to say these are the same, I would just draw it like this to say it has to be at a minimum this, but I want these to be one region. And so I'm kind of using uniqueness, but not really. We'll use up all the space, I'm pretty sure. But what we do know is I don't think now we can connect these two, because this is a seventh region and these can't connect. So this region does not connect up here to this region. It does still need a triangle. So it's either going to grab the triangle from the center, but then it also still needs one of these things. And so it'd have to grab one of those from. So I think we're going to see that these two now have to connect, because what we have, okay, let's back up. We've just said that 2 of the 3 up here connected to here. And I think we just came to the conclusion that this third one does not connect down here. And this one cannot connect down here. So this is the 7th region. This goes to the 7th region, which is going to be connected to this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. This is the 7th region, which means these 3 have to connect to these. All 3 of these are represented here and here and here. So with that being said, I think we can say, since this has to connect, that's connected. Like that there's no way to do the round. This one, I believe we can almost say it has to connect to this one, but I don't know that for sure. But the logic is this one has to connect to one of these two, and this one has to connect to either one of these up here or this one down here. This one does not connect to that one, so it does connect to this one. But I can't connect to this one without this one getting the circle. So no matter what this does, it's going to have to loop around the circle, something like this, not pick this up, so that this guy can get its circle, which does force this to connect here. This is missing its diamond, so this is going to have to come up and get the diamond. This is missing what? it's missing a circle as well. So one of these circles will have to go with this yellow. But how do I know if this is blue or if this is yellow? I don't think I know that yet. This needs a circle and a square. All right, so we now know that one circle and square go with this. Oh, and this. This has to go with this. Because it also needs a triangle. No, it has a triangle. Wait, where does this triangle go? It goes with this blue. The blue needs the triangle because it didn't get the triangle or the... Okay, so the blue's going to grab this triangle somehow. This needs a circle and a square. This is done. This has everything it needs. This needs a circle, square, and triangle. And this needs a circle. So I have, where am I missing? This needs a circle, square. This needs a circle, square. Where's the last square going? Circle, square, circle, square. Oh, wait. This orange doesn't have a square. It needs a square. Oh, okay. So this has to come out. This has to come out. Because this needs a circle, square as well. But this still needs a circle, right? This doesn't need a circle. This needs a square. This needs a square. This needs a circle. So this is going to have to come up. This has to come out. This has to come up. This has to come up. Okay, so this comes. This needs. Don't connect stuff that I don't want to connect. This has to. This is forced, and that's why. So now when we come back to here, we needed to get out. That's why this has to be minimum. You guys would see all this is forced here. So I went with the minimum. The minimum distance or the minimum pathing, and I needed every single one of these extra paths, so there was no room for expansion. So do not have to rely on uniqueness. All right, so we've got the 4 up in here. This needs a square, and the rest need, and this one needs a circle. We need a circle here, we need a square here, and we need a circle, square. So this gets a circle. Now this still needs a square, which I don't know how it's not going to be this square. This needs a circle and a square, which I think it's going to have to take this circle because this guy needs a circle, which I think is going to have to take this one. And this needs a square. I think it has to take this one. All right, let's just grow it. This has to grow. This has to grow. This has to grow. This has to grow. This grabs. Okay. I don't have to grow this anymore, so I won't. This can't take a circle. It goes over, it goes up. This is essentially done. All right. That can't grow. This needs circle. And then this needs everything. Solve a difficulty 6 puzzle. Folks, we did it. I hope that logic made sense. This episode is just 2 puzzles. We went a little long, but I'm not going to stop mid-puzzle. But we will end our episode there. I think 1 episode to solve a level 5, level 6 difficulty. I don't feel bad about that. I'm trying to keep the episodes about 30 minutes. We went a little long, but thanks for sticking with me, guys. I love both of those solves. I hope you felt those we did not have any logical gaps in our steps. If I missed something, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you're enjoying this series. I appreciate you joining me along the way. Like and subscribe and all that. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.